y'all, today in this video I'm going to be addressing this problem with all of this clutter underneath my potting bench. If you saw the last video, I did a lot of cleaning out and some organizing in here, and now it is time to dress things up a bit. So I hope that you will hang out with me today. I have a very easy project, very inexpensive DIY solution for this situation here. If you're new here, my name is Hope, and this is where I share my love of DIY projects, thrifting, estate sales, a little bit of baking, and occasionally some chickens. So come and hang out with me and let's spend some time together. So the solution that I have come up with is to create a cafe curtain here, but I want to do it as inexpensive as possible. I thought about using painter's drop cloth, and I even thought about using some leftover fabric that I have laying around the house from other projects, but I landed on burlap. Burlap is a very inexpensive fabric. You can usually find it at most fabric stores. I found this at Hobby Lobby, and I believe it was $2 or $3 a yard. I bought 3 yards, so I have 9 feet, and I really only need like 4 feet per section. There's a post right there in the middle, so I have an idea about adding some eye bolts and string and using that to hang my burlap curtain on. So when you're doing this, if you, whatever space you have, say you have 3 feet, you really want about 4 or 5 feet of fabric. That way you have enough excess fabric to create a ruffle at the top if you want that look, which I do. So I needed 4 feet per space. I actually ended up with 5 feet per space, so hopefully that's going to be enough to create just enough of a sweet little ruffle along the top of this curtain. So let's go get started, and let's see how this turns out. Okay, so that is the first stitching there. It's about 1.5 inches. And the reason I dropped down and put the first stitch along here for, I guess you would call that the hem, is that when the curtain is gathered, this is going to make a nice little tailored ruffle, which this is stiff, so I can't really, well, there we go. You get the idea. It's just going to be a cute little gather, and doing it this way is just going to make it look a little more tailored. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop down 3 inches from the fold here and create my next stitching pass right through there. So now this section here will be what the rope or the rod will run through. So this is the ruffle and this is the pocket. And then after I get this sewn, I'm just going to cut away this excess with probably some, what do you call them? The zigzag scissors. Let me just show you. Okay, with these, I can't remember what these are called. I call them zigzag scissors. So if you remember, or if you know the name of that, let me know, because I can't remember. Anyway, and using these, that's just going to keep any raveling, any excess unraveling from happening with the fabric. So that's what we're going to do there. So I'm going to start marking my 3-inch hem here, and then we'll get that sewed. Okay, so here is our finished curtain. So you can see the ruffle is here, and then the pocket is this section here. And this burlap has a factory hem on it. Don't know if you can see that right there. So I'm just going to let the factory hem be the hem for the bottom of the curtain. And so hopefully it's kind of stiff, so I'm hoping that it will loosen up a little bit. And as it's on the rod or the rope, whichever one I use to hang it, we'll get this nice little ruffle up at the top, just like that. So that one is finished. So now it is time to do all that again for the second curtain. Now that I've got both curtains completed, I've decided to use a rope instead of a curtain rod for this cafe curtain. So I picked up this rope at Lowe's, I believe. Realized I probably could have found it cheaper elsewhere, but anyway, I have it now. So I am going to thread this rope through the pocket here, and how I'm going to do that You do need a little bit of patience, but I'm just going to attach it to this extra large safety pin, and I'm just going to start working it through this pocket. So I've already done the other curtain. So you just kind of push it through, hold it, and then, well, once I get in there, let's see if I can push it in there a little. Okay, the first curtain went a lot easier than this one. Of course, I would have issues when I start recording. Okay, there we go. So I've got it bunched up in there. I'm gonna, oh, and I think it came undone. Of course, okay. I'm gonna try this again. Actually, let's see if we can't bring it down a little bit lower because it's trying to unravel. Okay. Let's try it again. So we're going to thread it through. I'm just going to kind of work it in there until I can get a hold of it. And then you start, once you can get it bunched up, let's see. There we go. Okay. Then you just start pulling it back down the rope. Then you can take it down here and just kind of pull that down. So it does take a few minutes, but it's pretty simple. You don't need any skill. There we go. Now we're moving. Okay. The trick is going to be getting this rope to be tight. If I can get a... God, I can't remember how to tie a knot. Oh my gosh. How do you tie a knot? Oh wait, there we go. I remembered. Oh my gosh. I think I remembered. Oh, this shouldn't be so awkward. Oh my gosh, that is not a knot. But I think that's gonna hold. getting the knot tied on the first one is not that big of a deal. It's the second one, because it needs to be so tight and taut to hold the curtain up. So I feel like I'm going to end up adjusting these as I use them, which, I mean, I shouldn't need to get under here too often, but probably as they relax, I'm going to have to come back and tighten them probably every few weeks or so. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So I can get in here. But it is very cute. I'm liking it. I'm glad I went with the burlap. And it's touching the ground, so it doesn't matter if it gets dirty. You won't really see any dirt because of the color. And it does have that, burlap has such a strange smell to me. I don't know if you remember, but like back in the 90s, was it early 2000s? Maybe, I think it was the 90s. Burlap was like a trend. I remember my mom buying yards and yards of burlap, and it was when women were, or ladies, were using it for window treatments, and you would loosely wrap it around the rod over a big window, and then you would let it drape, and you would, pinch it up and balloon it. Gosh, that was like, how many years ago? What year is this? It was back in the 90s. I remember my mother was all about that. And you could get it. It was so inexpensive. And she bought yards and yards of that burlap. And I remember helping her decorate our front living room, which was the fancy room, with all that burlap. And it had that odor to it for a little bit. It was neat, though. It was a very inexpensive way to get a very dramatic window treatment. It was a good idea. And then on top of that, you would add like real grapevine to it and drape that on top of the burlap. It was really pretty. It really was. Anyway, if you remember the trendy burlap window treatments back in the 90s, let me know. So I know I'm not the only one that lived through that. It was really neat, though. Okay. I think I like that.